Diesel for We the People news. Never look straight forward, always look around you, for the outside forces may want to commit harm upon you. And here's some evidence to prove that I am correct. Alright. Always get an attorney if you feel that you cannot be responsible enough for your own actions, that you're not of age majority to deal with the situation that comes up. So always get an attorney to help you. Don't recommend it, but I do recommend it. Wink, 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 y'all. Alright, so this could be part 2 of the video I just posted. Alrighty. And the only reason why I'm really doing this, because certain times I do these things, it really needs to be shown. This is just a learning video of if you're in a situation that you can take something from of it, whether it's your family or if this happens to you, what can happen to you and what can you do about it if it happens to you.
I believe you're impaired by cannabis. Yes, ma'am.
All three gave their blood to prove their innocence.
Can I take a drug test? Anything, please?
The charges were dropped months later when all 3 blood tests came back negative.
As far as the individuals unjustly arrested, I think at the time of the arrest, the officer felt that they were making a just arrest.
Will you submit to the state administered chemical test of your blood and urine under the influence of
No, they wasn't.
That test also came back negative 10 years ago. Cobb County Police have known about this problem for at least a decade. Lab tests for marijuana are notoriously unreliable for proving or disproving impairment. Studies show there's no amount that affects every user the same way. Internal affairs investigations show Cobb County consistently questions negative lab results, not its...
Okay, dawn on that. There is no test saying that it affects every user the same way. And it's true. Everybody reacts different ways to different things. So, these news people are correct. But judges and cops and all of them think that everybody acts the same way.
Drug recognition experts.
The officer's opinion based on his training is more accurate at detecting impairment of marijuana in a driver than the blood test. Is that your understanding?
We have to base our ability to prosecute on the threshold of the law. And when the evidence or the circumstances does not meet that threshold, then the person should not be prosecuted.
Publicly, the department announced a policy change after our investigation, no longer jailing suspected cannabis.
Okay. Evidence. What, a little boo-boo. And that's all they had to go by? Every single one of us has touched that white line or that yellow line. Every one of us have. If you've been driving any part of time at all. It just happens.
Drivers. But privately, Cobb County was in damage control. In an internal email, an official wrote the department has taken quite a negative PR hit because of this story. Our Facebook page has been blowing up with tons of negative comments.
He's trying to be taken into custody, okay, for DUI drugs.
Right after our story and a full year after Caitlin Ebner's arrest, Cobb County had the crime lab check her blood a second time. The GBI was asked to use a more sensitive test for the components of THC. Again, the crime lab reported negative across the board.
Did they ever apologize?
Nope, they never apologized. Officer Abbott did say, I know you don't trust me, but I'll always be there for you. And my response was to put me back in jail again for something I didn't do.
Lieutenant Greg Abbott, head of the DUI task force, was...
Okay. So, why did they decide to run another test a year later, which is victorious of what they're doing about these things? Now, constitutionally speaking, we know they don't go by the Constitution, but constitutionally speaking, that is double jeopardy. But since they don't go by the Constitution, double jeopardy comes to play with the Roman civil law.
Praised by county officials for this 5-page internal memo attacking our investigation, falsely claiming we allowed Caitlin Ebner to lie on camera. Those 3 cases fit Keefe's narrative that Officer Carroll was making bad arrests. He wrote that there were no other negative blood tests for arrest by this officer where the
We allowed them for her to lie? Okay. Well, we know cops are legal to lie by now.
drivers denied consuming marijuana. 85 arrest reports. This is what the Cobb County Police Department gave us when we asked for every DUI arrest Officer Carroll made in 2016. But Officer Carroll made 90 DUI arrests last year, not 85. Yet the Cobb County Police Department had no problem reporting every arrest to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, for which Officer Carroll received a silver medal last year. So why, when we asked for every arrest, were 5 reports missing?
I'm going to ask you a question. I need you to be perfectly honest with me, okay? When's the last time you smoked weed? You don't smoke weed?
This is one of the cases Cobb County didn't tell us about, shown here for the first time.
You're giving me signs of ingestion of marijuana, okay?
Young mother Brittany Penwell, a 4th arrest by Officer.
Okay, so in general, what they're doing, this is designed to give up your rights. Okay, you can drug test me. Well, she just volunteered to be drug tested. Now, if she does not do this drug test, she is automatically guilty, y'all. Let's get this perfectly lined out. If none of these people submitted to a drug test or a P-test, this would be on them. She would be convicted for the rest of their lives for being innocent. So it is 100% designed for you to give up your rights, or you going to fall. You're just going to have to suffer the consequences of you. Let's go with the easy word, pleading the 5th, not to incriminate yourself. In this case, it came back clean, but we go back, how much medicine actually comes out to make you dirty. So even they got lucky that there was no medicine in their system, or they would have been convicted. Proceed forward.
Carroll.
Most people tell me that they don't, but ma'am, I believe based on my observation that you have consumed marijuana, okay, the points made you an impaired and less safe driver, all right?
Her blood test also came back negative, her case dismissed and automatically expunged. Back in March, a police captain certified in writing there were no other reports excluded due to expungements. The department gave the 11 Alive investigators this drug recognition log for Officer Carroll, with much of the toxicology blacked out. But we obtained this unredacted copy, shared internally among commanders. Hiding behind those redactions, Penwell's negative drug test, and yet another negative tox report for a 5th marijuana arrest, dismissed for no traces of marijuana in the blood. 2 more negative tests, hiding behind Cobb County's black marker. Yet the DUI task force commander told his superiors, we picked the only 3 cases. Lieutenant Abbott wrote to his new chief before our interview, why are we still speaking to this dishonest guy? Lieutenant Abbott commands a unit that has the power on a single officer's opinion to lock someone up. If he is willing to alter the facts to fit his case in a written document, an official document, how can we trust him to not alter the facts in a case that might result in someone losing their freedom?
I've always known him to be an honorable person and a good officer.
I always known him to be an honorable police officer, knowing them, telling them that he falsified things, knowing there's been discrepancy through all this, and yet he still calls him honorable.
But you're not black. Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen white people get killed?
This is the DUI Task Force commander in a video that surfaced shortly after our interview with the chief. Lieutenant Abbott retired in lieu of termination.
Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right?
Next time you see this plant in your backyard, don't cut it down, because this is the best natural painkiller you'll ever find. Some people even compare it to morphine.
Sir, would you mind stepping back here for me, please? I'm gonna pull him out and check his sobriety. Okay. Are you on any medication or taking any medication for anything? None at all? Yeah, you taking a drink tonight? Okay.
A college professor arrested for DUI
Now this time, do me a favor, put your hands behind your back.
in front of his son and daughter.
How's your children?
12 and 10.
I'm Lieutenant Chapman from Garden City PD. Is this your dad? I'm placing you under arrest for suspicion of DUI, let's save drugs, okay? Well, he's being placed under arrest right now, and I'll explain everything to your mom.
The fact that my kids had to watch all this thing was just very, very distressing. I didn't have a chance to explain to them, what was happening. They only saw me being put in handcuffs.
Your father's going to be treated very well, okay? He's going to be okay. There's a problem with his driving.
The police tried to play it down like, oh, we're going to treat your dad nicely and he's going to sleep in his own bed tonight. But my kids, forever, but they're going to have to live with the memory of seeing their dad put in handcuffs, right in front of them.
The professor is still so traumatized he doesn't want us to use his name. Garden City police charged the father with DUI drugs and 2 counts of child endangerment because his kids were in the back seat.
2 convictions for child endangerment.
Right.
Would
Sit and think about that, y'all. How many times has this actually happened through the United States? And then we say that we should trust them. I once did trust cops, y'all. And thank God every day that a judge found me guilty on a ticket when I was innocent. Or I probably would have still been there.
you don't see your kids, they go to either your ex-wife or foster care.
Right. In the back of my mind is really the whole time, I know that I'm innocent and I didn't endanger my children in any way.
Your husband has been placed under arrest for suspicion of DUI drugs.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
Even my ex said, I know that he wasn't doing anything to endanger the kids, and I know that he doesn't do drugs or anything like that.
Your wife,
Ex-wife, yes.
He's going to be under arrest for DUI. Okay.
But he doesn't drink?
For medication.
The blood test came back positive for one drug, Tylenol PM, specifically diphenhydramine, the active ingredient in the allergy medicine Benadryl. Either of these over-the-counter pills can impair a driver worse than alcohol, but only 4 to 6 hours after taking one.
I had taken a Tylenol PM 19 hours before the arrest was made.
Indeed, the GBI crime lab detected the Benadryl in such a small amount it was consistent with a single dose taken a full day before the stop.
They wanted me to go to a lesser plea and go to DUI school.
Because of a Benadryl you took
Because of a
almost
Benadryl.
24 hours earlier.
Yeah, this was the next day, the next night, not even the next day, the next night.
Again, you guys have a tendency to want to go to a lawyer. And so far, we've heard a couple of things about attorneys knowing they're innocent to talk to them about taking pleas. So yeah, trust them.
Is this driver innocent of DUI?
Well, he is now. I mean, the court dismissed the charges against him.
Garden City Police Chief David Lyons, who once led Georgia's Association of Chiefs of Police, says the officer's opinion is the only tool of...
So we're going to go back into that. Well, he is now. Okay, what about him being innocent until proven guilty the first time? And this is what I'm saying, y'all. They got this Constitution all screwed up for their design because technically, they would have to have proper cause while they're sitting on the side of the road and call in a warrant and be able to take them to jail. But they made it so easy for cops to arrest people and don't have any consequences of it that innocent people go to jail.
Approved for detecting drugs pre-arrest.
If it's alcohol, you can do an intoxilizer and
On the spot. On the spot. For DUI drugs, no such thing. Some tool that I have beyond an educated guess that you're impaired or not.
It's like a guessing game. Well, maybe the drug test will turn out something.
The officer did not have a crystal ball. He had no way of knowing what the drug test would reveal weeks or months into the future. The GBI Crime Lab takes an average of 7 weeks if testing for drugs alone, and nearly 3 months if testing for alcohol as well. In the meantime, the future for the accused is unclear, and their world is turned upside down.
Yeah, I know that when you go to a doctor, you can get results from lab tests 2 or 3 days at the most. But, here, because it has to go to the GBI and all this stuff, it's going to take 3 months to get your lab tests back.
You may not get a definitive answer for weeks or months.
Exactly.
Sir, would you mind stepping back here for me, please?
So the only drug detector available in the field is the officer himself.
What I'll have you do is put your back towards my patrol car and just face me.
You could have gone to jail and lost your kids over the opinion of a police officer.
There was a court case, a family member is. The only good thing they did is asked him to go do a drug test at a place they recommend. Excuse me. So in that case, it would be quicker. Okay? However, there is certain things that they signed a contract with. And they do get overwhelmed with people always constantly going through the system. And people got to go to work. So they sit and think, hey, I can fight this all year. Or I can just plead guilty and get my butt back to work.
State records show the arresting officer completed advanced roadside impairment training, including drug detection, just 15 days before stopping the professor.
If you give someone a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail.
Absolutely.
Is there a human element once you get advanced training that causes you to see things that are either there or not there?
I don't have an answer for that. I would, that argument could probably be made that I have this new training and I'm going to go out and show the world that I know how.
There is no argument. That is facts. Research and studies through history has been proving that.
I'm going to do all this stuff and I'm going to take advantage of my new latest toy. Maybe.
It's not a toy. Well, let's go pull them out and check the sobriety. Let's go see what we can find. It's like somebody's life you're dealing with.
Garden City police stand by their arrest. They even pointed to a nearly undetectable amount of Ambien in the blood test, so small it couldn't be measured by the GBI lab.
I don't have to be perfect. I have to be reasonable and I have to have probable cause.
When they lose in court, nothing happens to them.
There was no probable cause. Suspicion maybe, but suspicion is not a crime. There was no probable cause.
They have nothing to lose, and the citizen has everything to lose. Their name, their reputation, their lifestyle.
In the end, the professor didn't lose the case, his job, or his kids, but he lost something else, his trust in the system.
I'm placing you under arrest for suspicion of DUI, less safe drugs, okay?
These people are supposed to be protecting, saving lives, and they're messing up lives. They're ruining lives.
I'm not in the business of ruining somebody's life. We are put in a position of getting impaired drivers off the road.
No, they're actually in the business of collecting revenue. They're security guards. Okay? Am I against police? No, they went in there the right way, the right reasons, and all that kind of stuff. But That being said, power does corrupt. And when they get an order, they follow it no matter how unconstitutional it is. And that's the reason why there's a constitution, to let them know that they cannot do this.
At the end of the day, we did our job.
If they arrest 10 people and 8 of them are positive, who cares about the 2 innocent people?
That's right. That's right. Except the 2 innocent people.
Banking through Chime is a little different. We don't charge monthly
But yeah,
fees or overdraft fees, so you can keep more of your money.
The only way this is going to end, y'all, is when we all stand up and say enough is enough.
This time being taken into custody, okay, for DUI.
But there is too
My
many
name is
sheep out
Caitlin,
there.
And it happened to me.
It happened to me.
Well, I believe you have, okay? I need to borrow your arm real quick, okay?
It happened to me. Innocent people arrested for driving on drugs.
It happened to me.
Our investigation shows this is not limited to one arrest or one officer.
I'm placing you on arrest for suspicion of DUI, let's save drugs, okay?
It's a nationwide phenomenon.
It happened to me.
It happened to me.
So you're saying that you don't smoke marijuana?
It happened to me.
It happened to me.
To me.
To me.
To me.
What is so troubling about these arrests to you?
We have police officers arresting innocent people and throwing them into jail based on a training that is completely unreliable and is based on junk science.
Sean Young and the ACLU of Georgia are suing the Cobb County Police Department on behalf of the 4 drivers we discovered in our investigation.
Hey, my name is Officer Carroll, Cobb County Police.
Are we talking about bad police officers, or are we talking about bad training?
We're talking about police departments, teaching them how to be these so-called drug recognition experts and telling them that they need to start pulling people over and throwing them into jail based on the results of...
And when they are in the wrong, a cover-up. They are found innocent on top of qualified immunity.
this completely bogus methodology.
That methodology has been validated by multiple studies, but most were funded by the same federal agency pushing the Drug Recognition Expert Program. Some independent studies have concluded a DRE's opinion of drug impairment is not much better than flipping a coin. In order to graduate, drug recognition experts are tested using 12 real-world intoxicated subjects in jails or rehab facilities. They are not required to evaluate a sober person as part of that test group.
I'm seeing indicators that you consume marijuana.
They hit the streets having seen drugs in every suspect they've evaluated.
And you stick your tongue out real big at me.
What's troubling to me is that these police officers are being told that they can now conduct medical examinations on random people by the side of the road. I wouldn't trust my own brother to do a medical examination on me because he's not a doctor.
There are documented visible indicators.
And that, beside the point, now there's actually been a judge. Well, I decided you're guilty, so you are going to jail. Then you're going to get a secondary judge to either say you're guilty or innocent, or the DA. But the officer is sitting there letting them know you're guilty. And for some of y'all out there, just in case you say it, I still stick to there are a judge, jury, and executioner, or people wouldn't be going to jail.
In drivers who test positive for marijuana. Red eyes, pupils not dilating or recovering normally, raised taste buds, and a coating on the tongue.
Oh, couldn't be red eyes. It couldn't be because you're a little bit tired. Couldn't be because of allergies. Right? Oh, I don't know.
But all of those symptoms can be caused by something else, totally benign.
Yep.
The officers believe they're seeing impairment because they're taught to see it.
Now, when I tell you to begin,
they learn from other officers and former officers who have been certified as DRE instructors.
Some of the most pronounced I've seen in a while.
Here is the video of the infractions resulting in the traffic stops that landed all 4 drivers in jail. A touch of a lane marker. One straddled the line while deciding between 2 exits.
You're halfway in the middle of the ramp when you're driving, okay?
I was trying to see if I should go straight to 85 or straight to 75 right here. You can check my car. You can do whatever you need to do.
No drugs or drug paraphernalia were found. The officer's opinion alone was enough to justify a DUI.
And we're going to go back with every one of them gave up their Fourth Amendment rights. Every single one of them. And still went to jail and still was found innocent, but not without consequences. And if they all decided they was not, they didn't take the blood test, if they did not give up the Fourth Amendment rights, they would have been found guilty. So yes, there is a catch-22 when you stand up for your rights.
By drug arrest, even though in 3 of our 4 cases, a drug recognition expert did not do the full DRE evaluation.
All of the certification studies were done on doing this full protocol, this full evaluation, but the officers don't need that under the law to make an arrest. They need probable cause, which is a much lower standard than 12 steps.
And probable cause requires that police officers use some kind of meaningfully reliable method of detecting whether someone has committed a crime.
It turns out drug recognition officers get it right in the vast majority of full 12-step DRE evaluations. In the last 3 years, Georgia DREs completed toxicology tests on 507 drivers suspected of marijuana impairment. 430 came back positive for THC. That means 77 drivers tested negative. The highest trained DUI officers in the state got it right 85% of the time.
You can throw statistics at our clients all day. What they know is that they were thrown in jail overnight. Some of them have never been arrested ever in their lives. And they now have to answer for an arrest record for a crime they didn't commit for the rest of their lives.
Officers have learned that DRE training allows them to see all they need to justify an arrest without completing the full post-arrest evaluation to confirm it. No one is tracking those cases for accuracy. The arrests of Caitlin Ebner, Kunle Oriomi, and Princess Umbamara and their negative tox screens aren't in any federal database because DREs are required to report only full evaluation opinions.
It happened to me.
It happened to me.
To me.
To me.
This slide is part of the DRE class in Georgia. No drugs detected. Instructors tell their officers when this happens to you, and it will, it's important that you don't let yourself become discouraged. The laboratory is not perfect, and the toxicologists won't always be able to corroborate your opinion, even though your opinion may be accurate.
When someone tells you you're an expert and
I did not know that. Wow. Wow. That is ridiculous.
you through this training, do you blame the officers for thinking they have these powers?
Yeah, they're going to be led to think that they are now an expert in whatever training they went through. But this piece of paper, this printed certificate, it means absolutely nothing.
And courts in some states, such as Florida and California, do not allow prosecutors to use the word expert when referring to certified DREs. They're called drug recognition evaluators or examiners. Dozens of the new DREs just hit the street.
Just that right there tells you words matter when you go to court. Words matter. Now, this is decent for we the people. I'm going to call this good. Y'all have a good night. Or a good day. Or a good morning. But until next time, y'all. Always, always look around you. Never straightforward, for the outside forces want to commit harm upon you. Case in point. Every one of these people I'm a believer in, they believed in the justice system. They believed in their cops. They believed in the courts. Where to get them? These are the people news. Bye, y'all.